All right, guys, and welcome in to Wagers on Campus College Football Podcast. We are talking week 2 of college football, and so glad that you guys joined us. We're happy to talk all the games in week 2. We're going to talk a little bit about week 1, and then we're going to get into the games in week 2, talk about the big games, talk about our best bets, and just go through some different angles. And I'm Mayor. Thank you for checking us out. Appreciate you guys. And I am here with Xander. And Xander,
Hello.
you got to be feeling pretty good about your Ohio State Buckeyes.
Yeah, what a great week. If you are a Buckeye faithful, also if you enjoy taking some plus money here and there, it was a big week for that. But yeah, it was a bad weekend if you were any sort of high noon or vodka seltzer in the Toledo, Ohio area, because there were, let's just say, hundreds deleted.
How old are you? 35?
Hey, man, guy's having his first kid. We got to celebrate. Diaper party. That's how it
No,
works.
I'm not shaming you. I'm trying to get a feel for your game, if you will.
Bit of a landfill, like Beer Fest throwback there. It felt like this weekend.
Were you at someone's house, or were you out
Yeah.
like at a bar?
No, it was mainly just house parties, which was a nice throwback. We were at a pool all day, and a lot of outdoor games. King of the games, Xander was just making everyone play every beer die. I was forcing people to play beer die for money. Beersby. Uh, yeah, it was good. Except I got shamed for how white I am with my golf tan.
Mm-hmm.
So I got fucking torched by not lubing up there with the sunscreen. So I'm definitely paying for it on the shoulders and back.
Yeah. Yeah, you learned your lesson real quick living in Florida. How was the TV setup?
It was solid. Saturday game solid. I got to be honest, didn't watch a minute of South Carolina, Virginia Tech, but gotta love YouTube. Really good matchups or recaps on the matchups if ever need be. And then yeah, we had obviously all eyes on Miami, Notre Dame, but starting to get a little hazy at that point. But uh,
Yeah.
caught the caught the end of that, but the Saturday games, we had all the important ones on, and wow, I can't wait to talk about it.
Definitely. It was great to have college football back in our lives. I certainly watched quite a bit. I went over to my in-laws on Saturday. Pretty much watched 9-10 hours of football over there. Watched Ohio State, Texas with Rick, and then some other people came over for Bama, Florida State, and Clemson, LSU. We left around halftime, Clemson, LSU, but yeah, man, we're back. And like you texted me over the weekend, you kind of forget how exhausting this shit can be sometimes.
Seriously, it is a fucking load. Pause, but it is a tremendous amount of, especially when you invest so much into preseason and you actually have interest in all these other games. You're not just putting them on to put them on, like you're tuning in, and I think it's more because of how spread out it was. Um, but you've got some group of 5 teams you want to watch, and they have to split time with the big boys, but they still got to be on the TVs.
For sure. And this was like a lighter week, all things considered. We had Penn State playing fucking Nevada, and we had a million games like that this weekend or last weekend.
Yeah, Colin Kaepernick ain't coming out of that tunnel anymore. I'll tell you what. Maybe you should try and get some eligibility for Nevada, because they are ass, and they've been ass for a while now.
Sure. Well, week 1 recap before we dive into week 2. Where would you like to start today?
Yeah, I think you have to call me Big Game Zan after week 1.
Okay,
All
big
th-
game Zan. Last week it was Xander. Now it's big game Zan.
I mean, on the right side of all three top 10 games with Ohio State money line, LSU money line, and Miami money line, all on the
Yeah,
card.
yeah, big facts. What was Alabama
So
ranked in that Florida State game?
they were eighth, but they were not a top 10 versus top 10 matchup.
I got you.
Also, we nailed, yeah,
Oh,
I'd
go ahead.
say, at least we get kind of a week off here to kind of bring it back because, God, lost way too many units on the games we just talked about being interested in. Hammered home all the big games, and then I'm dropping a couple units to Georgia Southern, who look like a high school team in the second half. But when it comes to the big games, maybe I just put a small card together going forward.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a really nice start for you on those big games, the must-watch games, if you will. No doubt. I guess I'll take this time to recap my week 1 card, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So, yeah, pretty tough week for myself. Winners included Miami money line, LSU plus 4.5, first half under, and Alabama versus Florida State. Buffalo plus 18 from Thursday. And then my lock of the week, Georgia Tech minus 4.5. I got extremely lucky to cash that bet because Haynes King busted loose for a 45-yard touchdown with like a minute to go when Georgia Tech was just driving to get into field goal range. But man, I needed that because the losses were plentiful. Nebraska minus 6.5, dud. Baylor money line, no thank you. Northwestern plus 7, that was a joke. Syracuse plus 14, had a shot, didn't get there. Texas plus, basically Texas pick'em, nope. Over 55.5 and LSU Clemson was the dumbest pick of the week by me. Actually, I take that back. It was UCLA plus 6 against Utah. UCLA. Burns, if UCLA played MTSU, Middle Tennessee, I wonder who would win that game. That's how bad UCLA looked. And then Virginia Tech plus 8.5 was a tough loss, but not a great week for me, man. I was down a little over 3 units on the week, or actually close to 4. So that sucked.
Yeah. Well, luckily for any followers that enjoy following Mayor, your ads did not make it to the card. So I was pretty lit up on the golf course. So we already made it to the halfway house when you texted me that.
Yeah, no worries. But my ads were winners. Those were two
they?
winners. There were 2 winners. Yeah.
Oh no.
I know.
Okay, I didn't even monitor them. Sorry about that. Was it LSU?
It was LSU plus 4.5 in the first half under in the Alabama versus Florida State game.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, like I texted you the other day, I know you got shit to keep up with on the graphic and whatever, but yeah, I was down 3.97 units last week. So on the season, I'm 7-10. I'm down slightly over 3 units, but I am 1-0 on my locks. I like to be clear with the records and the stats, so that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I like the 1-0 on the lock. That's all that matters, right?
Right.
Sometimes in a loaded card, the only graphic people see is that what do they care about the most this week? And some people don't like betting loaded cards. So Alex was 13-4 last year in locks. So this continues a streak. Last 18, he's 14-4. So
Nice.
It's tough to shy away from when the guy sees one during the week. Maybe you should just bet, irresponsibly on it.
Well, I appreciate that. Did you want to talk about any of your other bets from week 1?
Yeah, I think it feels like Groundhog's Day all over again. I think it might be time to retire from Friday games. This has been a festering issue for anyone that has listened over the past couple of years. For some reason, me and Friday college football do not get along. Perfectly fine on Thursday, 2-1, 0-4, with nowhere even close to hitting a win on Friday. Nowhere even close. San Jose State, they've got a quarterback that unfortunately doesn't even know how to play quarterback. So that was a tough game to watch.
Yeah.
I had that game playing on the way up. I drove up to Toledo, and so that was very frustrating to listen to. And then that over Colorado wasn't even close. Baylor, not even a fucking sniff of a chance. And one other game that I had on Friday that
Sam
was just,
Houston, UNLV over.
oh yeah. I mean, they tried to sniff at it, but I mean, they really didn't, to be honest. Like we were fighting from behind that entire game to get to that over.
And
But
it started off pretty solid. At least I thought.
it did, and it slowed down very drastically by half.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then I had a really good Saturday, so that at least picked me up off the mat. But if I just eliminate Friday, I had a elite week. So I think with only one Friday game, I'm going to lay off it this week, take a breather, and I'm just going to be, maybe I think, I haven't memorized the entire college football schedule, but I think with the NFL starting to take some Friday games, college might be scheduling less on Friday this season.
Yeah, probably. I mean, the NFL is king. So
I might be going to that Friday game though. It's the Louisville James Madison.
this upcoming Friday?
Yes, it's at
Oh,
Louisville.
yeah. I saw the line was like 14.
Yeah, tickets are pretty cheap, but we'll see. It's on the radar. Might be a last second thing.
Okay.
Only 2.5 hour drive, so
Very doable.
yeah, very doable.
So what else?
Biggest takeaways.
Well, I know you mentioned or you texted me, I think on Sunday, about the thing that surprised me the most. And, I responded back saying that there wasn't a whole lot that shocked me from week one. I mean, Alabama is, the easy answer that's been probably talked about at length. But I responded to your text saying Kansas State having to absolutely survive at the buzzer against North Dakota after the Ireland lost to Iowa State in week 0. I wasn't expecting that K-State game to be close. They only won by 3, and it took a last-minute touchdown to push them over the edge for those that didn't watch. But that's probably being too long-winded about it.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I thought there were a few things that I would take away, and that's the fact we had an FCS team beat our sweet boys at Army, beat our damn, they beat our troops. That was tough. That's tough. That's another Friday game. I just bet recreationally on the under, and how does that game get to overtime? I mean, come on. Uh, yeah, the other thing, I think the biggest takeaway, right, is going to be defense from this week. I think a lot of big matchups for week one, all on Saturday. And you have to wonder if this is going to be something we monitor for seasons to come with a good amount of first-year players, good amount of transfers, and defense is just going to mesh, significantly faster than offenses because there were some not so hot performances from a lot of the big teams, and talked up that LSU offense quite a bit. We're very high on Clemson's defense, but yeah, it was a little surprising to me. Obviously, Ohio State needs to work their new guy in, and didn't really put him in too many of a difficult positions. A lot of underneath routes. I watched that entire thing back, and so yeah, that's gonna. And obviously, the biggest takeaway of all for the ones that matter is the unders. Every under, if you bet this year so far, you'd be 64.5% a victor.
Wow.
So the unders in a big way are really starting to smack right now. And I think that goes piggybacking off my biggest takeaway of the offense needing some chemistry first.
Yeah, no doubt. I saw that stat as well. Blindly bet the under. You're up quite a bit to start the year. all the big schools' defenses look good. Ohio State looked real good. Texas looked good. LSU, Clemson, yeah, look good, man.
Mm-hmm. Biggest overreaction from the week?
Ooh, you go first because I gotta think about it.
I think it's easy. Everyone's overreacting to Alabama on the nationwide landscape. Um, when I think about my biggest overreaction, would be that uh, Texas and Arch uh, aren't as good as they maybe were perceived preseason.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be my biggest overreaction. And maybe a secondary overreaction. Middle Tennessee will not win a single game this year. And we have them winning 6. So
Okay. Well, to tail off of that, I'll say UCLA goes winless in the Big Ten because that team is putrid, or Utah is making the playoff, one of the two. And then I guess my other take would be, what the hell are we talking about? Overreactions. Clemson can't beat a good team. LSU played a hell of a game. Defense certainly came to play. I think Brian Kelly and the entire staff was very tired of hearing everybody talk about how LSU can never win a tough game in the first game of the year. So there you go. Clemson, they'll be fine.
yeah, this week's biggest winners and losers. Obviously, couple biggest winners: Miami and Florida State. They're two rivals. I mean, from what Florida State had to deal with last season, and coming in as a home 2-touchdown underdog. I mean, that's got to be the biggest winner of the week in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State winning, that would be up there too, just because, defending national champion with a lot of question marks beats number one team in the country. That's tough not to put a win there.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I would throw my hat for Tulane. Complete dominating performance against Northwestern. Jake Retzlaff, their transfer quarterback from BYU, looked really sharp. The whole team just looked sharp. They had 4 interceptions on defense. Just a very impressive ass kicking of Northwestern to start the year. And then my other winner is going to be Georgia Tech going into Colorado Friday night, primetime. Big game for them, especially if they have like playoff aspirations, and they found a way to win the game. And I guess honorable mention, Auburn over Baylor. They were definitely the better team on Friday night as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. When's your boy Preston Stone going to stop throwing picks? I think he's still throwing them on Wednesday as we record.
Dude, he seriously might. It was ugly. It was ugly. And to be fair, the receivers didn't do him too many favors on some of those one-on-one, go get it type balls. But nonetheless, his aggressiveness was detrimental for sure.
Big time. Yeah, I'd say the biggest losers as well would be the opposite there. Colorado, just no idea. We had clock issues last week, but at least, Stanford gave themselves a chance to win, but no idea what Deion's doing. Sounds even dumber in his press conference, trying to validate his stance on not calling timeouts. He says he wants tempo. Brother, there's no tempo available when there's 0 seconds on the clock. So, like, a Hail Mary from 50 is never going to be the right call. And that's basically what they were playing for when they, if I don't know if he forgot college, you stop momentarily for a first down. So that was a biggest loser. It looks like they're in trouble. Caden Salter didn't look the sharpest. Obviously, on a national stage, North Carolina, there were some murmurs on this podcast. 80-1, this team undefeated, possibly easy schedule.
And then the way that they came out with that first drive.
Yeah. Yeah.
How electric they looked. You're like, oh my God.
And the fact we had them going 11-1, and then I forced us to change one win to a loss to make it 10-2. seems hindsight seems pretty funny, but at least it seems like they found something in Max Johnson over Gio Lopez, because Gio Lopez through the air is just not going to win you any ball games.
I didn't realize that North Carolina, I'm serious here, I did not realize that they had zero faith in him throwing the forward pass, because they just kept running and running and running and running. Third downs, no matter when it was. They did not let Gio throw. And when they did let him throw, he threw a pick six.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I'd say those are two of the biggest losers this week. Obviously, our Army Academy. Tough to just lose to a FCS team when everyone else is just blowing them out. And, yeah, that's all I got for the recap.
Two other quick notes. I would have to. I mean, you said I just want to share my opinion. You said Salter didn't look the sharpest, which there's probably some truth to that. I thought he was pretty impressive, dude. I thought he looked pretty good. He did miss some throws, like a walk-in touchdown. One comes to mind. But overall, I thought he looked poised. I thought he looked pretty damn good. And the other thing is Josh Hoover, TCU quarterback. I mean, is he a top 10 quarterback in the nation? Seriously.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, him and I mean, sure they're playing FCS school, but our boy 47, Bear Bachmeyer, BYU,
Right.
said, "Yeah, we're not good anymore. How about here's 62 for your ass, or whatever it was, 59 or 62 nothing."
I think it was 66.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Well, that's a good recap. That's a good recap.
Yeah, I think covered a lot. Covered a lot. There was a big week. We got a smaller week. A lot of big spreads, but yeah, just right before that preview, almost forgot. Just a couple news and notes. You know, we like to touch on the news and notes for the current week that I have jotted down here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. Obviously, Lee Corso. I mean, you don't have a soul if didn't feel a little something welling up. You didn't have to cry, but man, just calls out his first love. He starts his career 30 some years ago at ESPN. His first headgear is Ohio State, and his final headgear is Ohio State. 6-0 on his picks too with Florida State outright, because they don't pick against the spread. As the last thing, he just picks Florida State outright. Picked LSU, had Miami. I mean, Lee Corso with a ultimate just bow for a electric career in our entire, I guess, multiple generations of childhoods have gone with the not so fast, my friend. So that was really great to see on Saturday.
Yeah. I'm sure that parlay would have been about plus 600.
I think they said it was like 86-1.
86-1.
Yeah, because he had Ohio State. It's like minus 120. LSU plus 155. Florida State like plus 380. And Miami plus 155. And then it was a 6-leg parlay.
Well,
there was another. Yeah.
Good for Lee. That's awesome.
Yeah. And we'd be remiss not to talk about this. This news, obviously, just consuming the South, but there are odds out there for the next Alabama coach. Have you seen this, Alex?
Yeah, I saw a graphic earlier today.
Did you see who was sitting at 33-1?
It cut off before it got to 33-1 on the graphic I saw, but continue.
Okay. Nicholas Saban sitting there at 33-1. As someone that is sitting with a so far so good take of his hot takes for 2025, the full culmination of that hot take is Nick Saban coming back to Alabama to restart And boy, would this 33-1 be? That'd be a sweep. That would be a sweep bet.
Yeah, I mean, for those that missed it, Burns' hot take before the year is that Kalen DeBoer would get fired from Alabama and Nick Saban would be rehired to be the coach after Alabama misses the playoffs again this year. And if that's your hot take, your start could not be better.
Yeah, one thing we didn't mention about it, I mean, 14-point dog. We wouldn't go into it anymore, but that's, yeah. You just don't lose to those. I think I saw a stat today. Saban lost when he was 14 or point more dog or 14-point favorite or more. I think he won. I think he was like 128-4 is what I saw. Like something absolutely insane. And Kalen DeBoer has already lost 4 as a 2-touchdown dog.
Is a 2-touchdown favorite? He's already lost 4 games.
Favorite. Yeah.
Wow, that's wild. I mean, not to talk too much about that game, but Alabama did not look like Alabama at all. Like, I guess the best word I could say would be like flat, kind of lifeless. Like, I don't know what I was watching. That was not Alabama football, though. Seriously.
Yeah. But Tommy C and the boys, they did what they needed to do. So you got to tip your cap to the Seminoles.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
And now they're off to a potential dream season off the nightmare season.
Yeah. Dream season, followed by a nightmare season, followed by a dream season.
All right. All the news and notes pretty standard or a pretty soft news slate. But we've got a pretty good slate, but there's a lot of 4+ touchdown games. Did you see the list that I put together?
Yes, I did.
Are there any that you wanted to really talk about or mention looking at before we dive into kind of the more reasonable slate that people are going to be watching and betting on?
The only one that has a case in my eyes would be, I mean, I guess Bama versus ULM. I mean, could ULM do the unthinkable?
No.
Okay. Well, if we're just looking at these games from like a power standpoint, obviously it's Oregon versus Oklahoma State. That would be the one that would be the most intriguing.
Yeah, I mean, DeBoer would be in witness protection if they lost to ULM. Like there would be no buyout. There would be nothing. He would be scooped away in black cars and never heard from again. Becomes a farmer somewhere in the middle of America.
Sure.
Yeah, I think looking at these games, it's always tough to see a line. We saw a lot of unders on these games this week. There were a few of those spreads in week 1. Also, plenty of overs with like teams like Missouri putting up 61. USC put up 73. Ole Miss put up 63. So some of these teams are doing it by themselves. When I look at that, I'd think of LSU needing to get theirs going. I don't think La Tech's that bad of a team, though. But Ohio State Grambling, they need real game time. They are going to comfortably push this offense up and down the field. They're going to run it, I think, significantly, but they need to figure out Julian Sayin in game-ish speed. Obviously, it's not an FBS team, but I haven't been able to find a team total yet. I imagine it'll be close to, I don't know, 58.5, 57.5. I'm taking that. This offense is getting in the 60s. So
Okay. Interesting.
That game.
Yep. Sure. I don't have anything else to add. I mean, Texas, San Jose State, I think it's on ESPN or ABC. Believe it's an early game. I'm sure people will be curious to see how Arch looks at home, after last week's loss. But, San Jose State, last week, losing to Central Michigan in that game. I mean, my God. I mean, you said it. They don't have a quarterback. So,
Yeah, they were starting a true freshman at one point. This guy's a 6-year senior, fucking Walter Egan or whatever. He's a true Rocky Lombardi nominee for how's that name still in college football, still playing snaps. Yeah, but if Texas has, I actually there's a pick 'em like league. I have Texas minus 36. I don't know if I'll bet it, but if they do not shellac that San Jose team, there's going to be some trouble in Austin. They're not going to be happy.
yeah. Yeah, for sure. 100%. Can we move on? Talk about some of
Yes.
these games?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hell yeah. All right. Let's get into week 2. Where to start? Do you want to start Illinois at Duke? How about that?
Yep. Yeah, we'll just go by time versus potential wow factor.
Cool. So we got Illinois taking on Duke. Illinois is a small road favorite, 2.5 to 3 points, depending on where you look. And the over-under is 49.5. Illinois comfortably dismantled Western Illinois last week, and Duke took care of Elon after somewhat of a slow start. They picked it up and got it together. So, in terms of this game, Xander, I feel like the preseason hype for Illinois has been pretty damn high throughout the offseason. A lot of people have some pretty high expectations for this team. And I don't think this game is sneaking up on anybody. It's literally the second game of the year. I think the Illini have very much been aware of this one for a while. And ultimately, I think if they are supposed to be as good as a lot of people think that they can be this year, this is a game that you need to find a way to win against the Duke squad that I respect, but also respectfully. They're not Clemson. They're not Miami. They're not even Georgia Tech. So I really do believe Illinois has a lot of boxes checked for them, that are in their favor going into this game. But you can't go dick around on the road. You just got to go play your game, play solid ball, get out of there with a win. If you start fucking around, you start turning the ball over and shit like that, that's where things can get spicy. So I think Illinois wins and covers ultimately, and I'd probably lean under. But what do you think?
Yeah, I saw some areas for improvement in the first week from both these teams that obviously played nobodies. But that Duke Elon game was a one-score game into the fourth quarter, which Duke pulled away to make that score bug look a little crooked when it really wasn't. So something concerning there is Duke allowed 5 explosive plays over 20 yards to Elon.
Mm-hmm.
And when we look at something negative that Illinois, obviously because the starters weren't really playing into the fourth quarter, but 4 sacks for Western Illinois, and all in the first half. So all when the starters were in. It's not what you want to see. So I don't know if that just comes to execution from the quarterback, maybe kind of playing with his food per se on like a lesser opponent and just not just kind of getting rid of it as quick as he should be.
Yeah.
Or just moving on. And so I don't know what that means, but those are 2 concerning things. So I would actually, and especially a road favorite, it's always tough to ride a road favorite in such a seemingly even matchup. So I actually like following the trend of the under here, just kind of a slugfest. 2 teams not really getting to rev it up full speed week 1, really finding out some true talent week 2. And yeah, I could see like a 21-17 game here.
Yeah. I think I lean under as well. Looking forward to this one though. Any other thoughts, or you want to move on?
No, I like that. Yeah, I like that.
Sweet. Moving on to Iowa Hawkeyes taking on the Iowa State Cyclones. This is an 11 a.m. Central game. I gotta say, we're used to this game being 2:30 Central. So what the hell? 11 a.m. That's interesting. That's actually the first thing that stood out to me when I saw this game. I was like, interesting with the time. But Iowa State is favorited, 2.5 juiced, -120. Over under 41.5. You're always going to have a low total in this game. So I'll start it off with you, man. What do you think in this one?
Yeah, I really liked what I saw out of Gronowski. Definitely more than a serviceable quarterback for Iowa, so that'll be nice. Obviously, again, a pretty layup of a start. Iowa State, did not pull a Kansas State. They had no problem with the travel back, playing in week 1. Took care of their FCS opponent, and Rocco Beck looked great. How about a college football record set that game too? Did you see that?
No, what was that?
63-yard field goal from Iowa State's kicker.
Oh yeah, I mean I was watching live when he hit it.
Yeah, that was nuts. Yeah, so that's bad in a Iowa State Iowa matchup, because special teams are going to be your bread and butter. There's one thing that I just can't do. That's bet an over in this game. 17-3 the last 20 to the under. 41.5 is, I feel like last year was like 32 or something ridiculously low, that it just, you feel like, how do we not put that in a teaser and just rip the over? Anyway, Iowa's bullied Iowa State the last few years too. Won 7 of the last 9, and they've won 6 in a row. So you have to wonder mental edge, because I see both of these teams very fairly matched. Also, Iowa State is now playing for the 3rd week in a row, so already a little bit less rested than Iowa has to play. So I like having the points in this game. I already bet Iowa at +3, so I don't miss that number. I'll probably bet the under, but I just like extremely close game. A couple years it has gone very sideways, but to Iowa's favor. But I just see 2 very familiar teams in a similarly matched. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I thought you had a lot of great points that you brought up. I think the way I see this game is Iowa State could not have started the year better for them so far. Not only getting that huge week 1 win in Ireland against K-State, but then just dominating. I believe it was South Dakota last week.
Yep.
And they were like a 14-point favorite. I don't know if you knew that.
Yes. Yeah.
And they went out and won 55-7. So I love the start. How could you not? What I've seen from them up to this point, and to your point about Iowa getting the best of them here lately, I'm hoping that plays in Iowa State's advantage. I'm hoping Coach Campbell can motivate the guys however he sees fit. And I mean, like you said, Rocco Beck, man, the quarterback, continues to be very impressive, just continues to be very, very impressive. So Iowa State, I love that they're at home in this game. I think they have the better quarterback. I think momentum is greatly on their side at the moment. So I'm going to go ahead and lay the 2.5 at -120 and take Iowa State.
Wow. Okay. Different sides here, pal. Someone
Indeed.
selfishly that's on Iowa future to make the playoff also need a win like this.
Sure. I've just been very impressed with Iowa State, but we do need to keep things in check. They've played 2 games. And another note for you, Burns. Did you know Iowa's opponent last week, University of Albany, you know what their mascot is?
Great Dane.
Wow. Look at you.
Come on, dude. They've been on the bracket a few times.
Very impressive.
Yeah, it looks like a fucking cartoon. It looks like Marmaduke, the actual mascot, like on their logo.
I said, Nikki's parents, they've always had Great Danes. And I said, Rick, did you know that they're the Great Danes? He's like, no, I didn't know that. And then like 10 minutes later, he's like, did you know that used to be the ball sacks? I was like, no, the ball sacks. Gave me a good laugh.
There he is. No, not a Great Dane. Just got the vocal cords of one.
Yeah, it's my boy in the background. But those are some really solid 2 games to kick us off on Saturday, and then we're also going to move to Baylor taking on SMU on the CW, same time, 11 a.m. Central. SMU is a small favorite of 2.5 points, and the over/under is 64.5. Man, not really like last week, but this week, dude, we have some pretty solid games all at once here in the early window. What do you think of Baylor taking on SMU?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Baylor playing catch up last week. Sawyer Robertson had some flashy numbers. Broke 400 yards passing, but again, having to play catch up the entire game. Extremely worried about Baylor's defense, usually a strength, because everything we saw was just weak. To be nice, very weak. And then you look at SMU. Doesn't look like they skipped a beat on offense. So man, you'd think this seems like the game of the week to bet that over with 2 very high-powered offenses. SMU the last 4 years, 15-7 as a home favorite against the spread. So they are a slight favorite here. I don't know. I hear things like that. It makes me want to bet SMU. And then just being around college football for so long, a team on a national scale getting beat and then being a short dog the next week against a ranked team, it just always feels like that team is the spot to bet. You think you could kind of pick up off of, a true challenge there. So that's where, tell me if I'm wrong on that.
No, I agree with your line of thinking 100%. I think this game is just very, very difficult to predict. If you told me right now that you're going to get SMU from last year in this game, I would lay the 2.5 with SMU right now. But I don't know if SMU is as good as they were last year. Honestly, in all likelihood, they're probably not. In Baylor, people might be overreacting a little bit after just losing 1 game against an Auburn team that, who knows, maybe we'll go on to win like 9 games this year. And we'll look back and say that was actually a pretty tough game for Baylor. So it's just very difficult to say, in my opinion. This is a rivalry game. The campuses are about an hour and a half away from each other. I think I'd probably lean the short favorite or the short dog as well in Baylor if I had to give a lean, but staying away from me.
Yeah, I think the one note that we didn't talk about from last week in relation to this game, I'll put my hand up here. Jackson Arnold detractor. He definitely looks like he's ready to play in the SEC. He was solid in that game.
Man, I don't think he's going to make it through the season if he runs the way that he ran against Baylor.
That's fair. Could just be jacked up from week 1 though.
Yeah, I think he needs to be smarter because he's not like the biggest guy in the world. But Auburn ran the shit out of the ball against Baylor, and no doubt he deserves his props for sure. Anything else on this game?
No, with the only, I mean, that's what we're talking about on the over under. That number 64.5. Just kind of dipping your toes in. I was making my card and I had to catch myself starting to click too many overs. You have to be aware of, I mean, the overs are going to win. and there's going to be dozens of overs that win this week. But sitting at 36% of the season, it's going to find its way back to level. Doesn't mean you need to go searching for all of them. So a number like that, I don't know, probably a stay away. But I would like to bet the over here.
Yeah. Discipline typically isn't a bad thing. But you're right. Water will find its level. Anything else early that you wanted to cover before we move to the 2:30 slate?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay. Quick take from you. UConn Syracuse. Do you have any thoughts in that one?
Okay, that is at 11.
Yes.
Okay. That would be if we had like a segment of like your favorite dog of the week. UConn would be my favorite dog of the week. I have them in a parlay for later in the show, outright. I like them in all my round robins this week. Syracuse. Oh man, we knew they were going to be facing some stressors in the bounce back season from losing so much production, but man, did Tennessee look like they looked like the greatest show on turf for that offense.
Yeah, no kidding. Syracuse was far too sloppy. Couldn't agree more. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I think this UConn team will be very disrespected and just like on the basis of what that football program has been, and yeah, I could see them establishing a run to stay in this game as a touchdown dog, and I could see them being in it long enough to win it outright.
Yeah, for sure. I guess I just don't know a lick about UConn, so I don't know if they're just as bad as Syracuse or not. So,
well, they do have their quarterback is
Dan Orlovsky.
Yes, your boy. Yeah, Joey Fagano.
Whoa,
Fagnano?
dude.
Yeah, Nick Barzano's favorite player. No, I mean he had a clean game, 3 touchdowns, no picks, sacked once.
Who'd they beat last week?
UConn beats. They beat up on Central Connecticut.
Central Connecticut. Okay.
State.
Okay. State, of course. Okay, let's move on. 2:30 p.m. Shout out to Phil Gainey. Kansas taking on MIZZOU. We got Missouri as a 6.5 point favorite at home, and the over/under is 51.5. First time they're playing in 15 years, right?
Is that right?
I believe that's correct.
Yeah, first regular season meeting in quite a while.
So, where do you want to start? Kansas, Missouri. Do you have any thoughts in this one?
Yeah, very positive from a small sample size from Missouri. Our certain Missouri correspondent didn't seem too happy as they were up 54-0, which is so spot on and awesome. That's a true football mind to be really annoyed at a 54-0 lead.
Totally.
But yeah, I mean, Kansas got a nice reprieve after week 1, getting Wagner. So they have played 3 weeks in a row as well. Listen, they've stayed hot from last year. I have an ultimate stat here that I will be on this game. Under Leipold, Kansas is 15-4 to the over as a road dog.
It's a good stat.
So I like the over in this game. Especially from our correspondent being a little disappointed in the plays that they were giving up to a Central Arkansas team. I think there's some room for improvement and obviously tougher competition. Jalen Daniels continues to look good, and this Kansas defense is not allowing points where they shouldn't be. I believe. Let's see. I mean, they beat the crap out of them, so I'll get you a final. But what's your thoughts on it?
From a tactical standpoint, I'm really not too sure. But I see this game as just a very, very big energy game for Missouri. Being able to play this one at home, cheapest ticket starting at $210.
Wow, what a stat!
Yeah, these two schools aren't too fond of each other. I just think the energy in the stadium will be rocking and really behind this Mizzou team. I will say, I think Kansas has had a pretty impressive start to their year, given who they've played. But nonetheless, took care of Fresno easily, and then Wagner last week. But Burns, give me Mizzou in the first half, -3.5. Let's have Mizzou to come out and make a statement at home.
Wow, you think it's going to be like they're just going to be riding off the momentum of a packed Columbia?
Yeah. Let's go like 21-7 at halftime or something like that.
Whoa! So you're saying alt spread first half here?
I don't hate it.
Oh,
I'll take the 3.5 though. I mean, that's all that Hard Rock offers me anyway. Welcome to the monopoly.
Yeah, for sure. How about the? I'm going to push back here a little bit. Could you also see a text coming in at what time does this game start? 2:30.
Mm-hmm.
At 2:45, Kansas is going to win by 40.
From me?
No, from
Phil.
Yes.
I mean, if Kansas goes right down the field and punches it in, then yeah. Yeah, but I expect Missouri's defense to show up in this one. People said coming into the year that their defense was supposed to be pretty good. The question marks were more so on offense, but I heard the running back looked really solid.
Yeah, Ahmad Hardy, he did look really solid. He had a couple breakaway runs there. He had one that, man, just shoelaces almost broke for like 70 yards. That was he looks dangerous for sure. And Pribula, shout out to him on his first pass. It's like I don't have the exact yardage. I think it was around 58, 59 yards. Touchdown. So
It's a nice way to start your season.
Yeah, it was a bomb too. It wasn't like a
Screen.
little bubble screen.
Yeah,
just reaping the rewards. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with Leipold's numbers in this matchup or in his road appearances. I trust both of these offenses from what I've seen, and I think Kansas defense be by far the most talented they've seen, and we were a little sluggish on them in the preseason. So, I like the over 51.5.
Cool. All right. Moving on to 3 p.m. Central, ESPNU, West Virginia goes on the road to take on Ohio University. Ohio University. So they have hosted Iowa State and West Virginia in back-to-back seasons. Was Iowa State last year?
I think so, yeah. One of the most boring games of all time.
Yeah, no kidding. It was like 9-0 or something crazy. I don't know, something like that. But in this game, we got West Virginia as a 3-point road favorite, and the over/under is at 58.5. So I'll ask you, Mr. Mack, who spent quite a bit of time in Athens, Ohio, and around this conference. What do you make of West Virginia taking on Ohio? What do you think?
Yeah, this game will be a sellout, and it will be 70-30 West Virginia fans. There's murmurs that it was just cheaper to buy season ticket packages than some of the resale options. So a lot of West Virginia people gobbled up those season ticket packages and will now be reselling the rest of the games. But yeah, this is a short little trip from Morgantown to Athens. Athens is right there on the border of West Virginia and Ohio. If you're unfamiliar, I think you have to be impressed with what Ohio was able to do in week one. Definitely not on the defensive side by any means. But when we come to a football team that pretty much returned their quarterback as their mainstay, uh, they competed with a Rutgers team that got out to a very hot start. It was 31-10 at one point, I believe. 31-14. And you're expecting this Big Ten team at home under Greg Schiano to pull away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going into half. You're wrong. Rutgers only scored 3 the entire second half. And Ohio actually ties it up in the third quarter, 31-all. So they were able to put up 450 yards. They're not going to be scared of a bigger opponent. Rich Rod's still feeling out. He brought a conference champion Jacksonville State, riddled transfer portal with him. So it's not like he's working with all new players. He's got a lot of guys familiar with his system. I just think this number is too much respect for Ohio and what maybe an overcorrection. I love West Virginia, especially with the amount of support that's going to be on their side on an away game. I love West Virginia -3.5. Give it to me all the way up to 6.
Okay, interesting. I agree with your analysis on Ohio against Rutgers. For those that didn't watch that game, that was last Thursday, and Burns is right. Ohio fought like hell, and Parker Navarro looked good. Anything about West Virginia, though, that stands out to you? And if the answer is no, that's fine. I'm just curious. Is there anything about them as a team that makes you believe in them outside of the fan base showing up?
Yeah, I think it's just more of the amount of Jacksonville State players that he brought because they only played Robert Morris. Again, this is going to be so tough. Week 2 is always so tough when you have teams that didn't play week 0 and maybe didn't play the biggest opponent week 1. So you got a team that played against a quarterback that, his name is Zach Tanner, and he threw for 70 yards. So, no offense, Zach, but you got a great wide receiver in Cam Vaughn. I think you're going to have a better defense than years past, just from the players he was able to bring over, and that's why I would lean towards that extra number at West Virginia.
Okay. All right. Yeah, this is another one that I hope I can get some eyeballs on. Let's see. Anything else in the afternoon that we should cover before we move on here to the later slates? I'm just pulling up ESPN real quick.
Yeah, I'd say a pretty big one at 3:15.
Oh, yeah. I totally missed that one. We got South Florida taking on their in-state rival, Florida. SEC Network, Florida, 17.5-point favorite in the Swamp. Over-unders 54.5. I'll take this one to start.
Sure.
I thought Florida did exactly what they needed to do last week against Long Island. It wasn't perfect. I saw Long Island make a few plays here and there, but it's football. Florida absolutely dominated them throughout the game, and then on USF side, what an unbelievable way to start their season by just basically blowing Boise State out of the water to start the year. So now we have this kind of funky week 2 game, and the line is all the way up to 17.5, and I'm kind of split on this one, dude. Like, part of me is basically saying 17.5 is a lot of points, and that might be a little too much respect for Florida, especially what we just saw from USF in week 1. And then another part of me says, but what if Florida is like a 10-win team this year and USF, started off with a great win against Boise, but come to find out Boise actually isn't all that good, and it was just kind of a week 1 party, if you will. So kind of split on this game. Don't really have an angle or an opinion. I think my lean would be Florida to cover the 17.5 and just show the hell up. But I feel weird even saying that based on what I saw from USF last week. So probably a stay away game for me. What do you think?
Yeah, first off, incredible call by us, and I had a little extra on the money line there, but gave out the spread. And that's always nice. The first game of the year, basically, just a rocking chair for the most part, because they beat the doors off of Boise. Good player and Chaz Nimrod, receiver. Boy, that guy has to have a chip on his shoulder, right? That last name. I'm sure
Yeah.
the bullies were not letting that one slide too easily. So good to see that type of resiliency in any sort of player on your team. I think 17.5 is just too many points, even on the road. Like we talked about, South Florida isn't going to have to leave the state of Florida for a month or so. And so it's not going to be beating them down on travel-wise. I liked what Byron Brown did in his return from injury. It was nothing spectacular, but, he's a player that will extend the game and extend drives for you. And with that reason, I think 17.5 is way too many points. Obviously, we got a very, very muted peak at Florida. Not many of the starters playing into the third quarter. I think I saw the team they played, Long Island. I think their quarterback had 1 completion.
Oof.
Tough. So Florida's defense will be there. Again, I think when you play such a vastly different team and talent-wise, you're not really giving yourself a full start to the season. So USF really challenged themselves out the gate. They're going to cover 17.5. And this game is also going to get over. I'm going to say the final, Alex, is going to be Florida 36, South Florida 28.
Okay. Put that in FanDuel. Exact score. Sounds good. There is one more game that we need to cover for the afternoon slate. And Burns, we have a real-life SEC game taking place. It's Ole Miss taking on Kentucky at Kroger Field in Lexington. Ole Miss is a 10.5-point road favorite, and the over-under is 51.5. I'm curious, sir, how much did you get to watch Toledo and Kentucky last week?
I watched all of it. Very disappointing on the offensive side of the ball for Toledo, but you have to tip your cap to that Kentucky defense. I mean, they are going to be their focal point of that team. That defensive line, that's no rookie line that Toledo is producing there. It's more of an experienced line, and it was shocking of how quickly everything was blown up. Calzada, he got the start over Cutter Boley or whatever, Carter Boley. Still stunning. He's still starting around the country. He was not anything to write home about. Kentucky's starting quarterback. So they were able to extend that lead on a, right after Toledo cuts it to 1 score, a 80-yard run the next play for Kentucky. Just really nailed that game away. So the running game looked decent, but Toledo was able to really control a lot of the line of scrimmage, a lot of plays behind the line. They were not intimidated coming in there. So I don't know if that's more of a commentary on Toledo or if Kentucky's offense is just going to be bad because you look at Ole Miss and they, again, played absolutely no one. They're just playing backyard ball, throwing it around, just getting whatever they wanted. So maybe that if Toledo's defense looked as good as it was, which they have a couple NFL talented players on there, then maybe this will actually be a close game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, your commentary makes me want to lean Kentucky plus the 10.5 at home. Let's keep in mind, Kentucky did go on the road last year as a 17-point dog and beat Ole Miss outright. And the over-under is 51.5, which surprises me. We've always kind of known that Kentucky's calling card is defense, and you're saying that they looked pretty good against Toledo last week. Ole Miss is breaking in a new quarterback, and he had a very variable stat line. I would say overall good, but 20 for 31 for 341 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and 2 sacks taken. So certainly not perfect. Turned the ball over twice. Man, it's so disgusting that I'm even saying this, but I might be doubling down on Kentucky plus 10.5 and the under 51.5 because both make sense to me when we're talking about it right now. Unless Kentucky's offense truly is just miserable and Austin Simmons, Ole Miss's quarterback, is an absolute, player, then this could look really stupid. But
you have to take that stat line with a grain of salt. It was all kind of catch up. I mean, Toledo had 2 points in the fourth quarter. So, yeah, those picks were early when it meant something.
I'm talking about the Ole Miss quarterback.
Oh, Ole Miss quarterback. Okay, misheard you.
Austin Simmons, he threw 2 picks last week and got sacked twice, but he did throw for 300 yards.
That's concerning. 2 picks, and you have to worry about execution.
Yeah, so just something
to back you up.
Mm-hmm.
They love covering as dogs. It's Stoops, 32-19-1 with 19 outright wins.
Whew. I mean, guys, if you're listening to this, come on.
That was also an unreal environment watching that, where we were for that Kentucky Ole Miss game.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, you want to get into it?
No, I think we're good. What's up next?
Okay. Next on the board here, we are going to jump to the evening slates. I'm just going through to make sure we didn't miss anything. Let's real quick. Let's go Western Kentucky versus Toledo. Toledo laying 7.5 at home, over under 58.5. Since you're a Toledo fan, thoughts on this one?
Yeah, my thoughts in first click were under 58.5 were a ton of points for what Toledo's defense is and what their offense just showed me against Kentucky. I know Western Kentucky has a very up-tempo offense, but it hasn't really scared any. I mean, last year it went under as well. A little bit of weather, but they didn't really play in horrid conditions. It was more of electricity in the area. Yeah, so my first click was under. Just really, really impressed with what I saw on this defensive side. It's not a MAC defense. It's trying to be as polite as possible, but it's it's a top 35 defense in the country, to be honest. Move as a unit, and I just think Western Kentucky is going to be shell-shocked from their first 2 games. Haven't seen anything like that. It's been the exact opposite. So I liked the under in that game.
Okay. Yeah, I like the take. It's solid. You think Toledo wins the game?
Yes, for sure.
Okay. Moving on to one of the bigger games Saturday night, ABC, 6:30 p.m. Central Time. We got Michigan taking on Oklahoma. Looks like the spread is anywhere from Oklahoma as a 3.5 point favorite all the way up to 5 or 5.5 at home. Over under on my book currently sits at 45.5. So, what do you think of Michigan versus Oklahoma?
Yeah, I think I really like Oklahoma here, and I'll tell you why, Alex. I was really impressed with John Mateer. Everything was on the numbers. He had one interception, and it was off a receiver's hands. And then Oklahoma turned the ball over again. Tight end early in the first quarter, just got a helmet right on the ball and fumbled it as they were early driving. But more impressed with this defense, just reloading. Lost their best linebacker, but kept everything else with their core defensive line. They even added a couple transfers. They added Marvin Jones from Georgia. I think what this defense brings to the table and why I like Oklahoma this early in the season with that many points over Michigan is containing that run of Haynes. It took him a while to get going there against a very, very below average New Mexico team, and as a 35-point favorite, only winning by 17 and letting up 17, to be honest, is a little troubling. So I think that Oklahoma is going to force Michigan to throw it a lot, and that's not in their favor. What do you think if that's the case? Where would you lean? Because I think you're leaning more towards Michigan if that's not the case.
Yeah. I mean, I would probably lean Oklahoma in that game script, given that it's Bryce Underwood's second career start at the collegiate level. I didn't watch every snap of Michigan versus who did they play last week?
New Mexico. Yeah.
I didn't watch every snap, but I watched a decent bit, and I've seen some Twitter cut-ups on Underwood. Orlovsky had a good one today, and based on what I saw, I was pretty impressed with the way he threw the ball. Granted, I might have seen all of the favorable clips, but he was on time. He's got a laser for an arm. He was accurate. He had touch on one of the passes. Thought he looked solid. But I do agree with you. Oklahoma's defense, that's why I bought them at the beginning of the year, paired with John Mateer, of course, and Jaden Ott, their running back. But I definitely thought Oklahoma's defense was going to be a huge strength of this team, which is why I believe in them and still do. Oklahoma last week against Southern Illinois, they were missing two offensive linemen who are supposed to get back this week against Michigan. So that'll be interesting. Apparently, Oklahoma really struggled running the football last week against Southern Illinois, which is a little concerning.
Yeah.
Now they got to go up against Michigan. So all that to say, I do give Oklahoma the advantage straight up because they are at home. It's a night game in Norman. I think they have the better quarterback, even though I was pretty impressed with Bryce Underwood. I lean Oklahoma to win. I don't know by how many points they're going to win. And overall, I'd also lean the under. I think it's going under 46.
Yeah, I could agree with that under. I like Oklahoma to win by 2 touchdowns, and I saw it at like 27-10. So, yeah, that would fit under the under by, what is it, 46.5? Yeah, by almost 10 points. So, yeah. Don't sleep on Mateer's running ability, too. Obviously, I know Underwood is the dual threat, but I think America's about to find out John Mateer's America's dual threat.
Would be a huge time to make a statement on prime time against Michigan.
Gosh, America has no idea what they're about to see from John Mateer.
Let's hope. I'm cheering for him, especially as someone who bet him to win the Heisman.
Correct.
All right. Moving on to, let's go to East Lansing, where Boston College takes on Michigan State. On my book, I got Michigan State as a 4.5-point home favorite. Got the over-under here sitting at 46. So here's my take on this game, and we're not going to get too tactical about it, but here's my take. These two teams played last year in BC. Very sloppy, rainy game. Michigan State really had the game won until they didn't, and they just kind of blew it at the end. So I do think that this is a good chance for them to get some revenge. Tommy Castellanos, Boston College's quarterback from a year ago, is no longer with the program. But Michigan State brings back Aiden Childs. This is more of a growth year for the Spartans, where I think the arrow is, pointing up, or at least not pointing horizontally. It's pointing in the right direction. I think the home crowd's going to get behind this team, and I expect Michigan State to go out there and have a clean, good performance on Saturday night on NBC and take care of Boston College, who, look, you tell me in a minute, I don't have super high expectations for them this year. I don't think they're going to be anything spectacular. I don't even think they'll be average in the ACC. So give me Michigan State to win, and give me Michigan State to cover. I'll go Michigan State by 10 in this game.
Yeah, obviously I had no problem Boston College beating the crap out of Fordham. I think we saw a lot of teams beat the crap, put some crooked numbers up. It is also great that they have a running back named Turbo.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that is a running back you want to have. You find him in the portal at 3 stars. Yeah, give us that Turbo kid. Should I read what our Michigan State correspondent sent us after the game?
Please.
Because, there's really no excuse to only score 2 against Western in the second half. They looked really good in the first half, Michigan State, doing whatever they wanted. 21 points, moving the ball at no hassle, and then 2 the entire second half. Oh, so breakdown in offensive line, couldn't stop the edge rushers. Obviously the only points from Western to cover for us was the backup QB threw a pick 6 with 2 minutes to go. That's a classic Mac.
Oh, yeah.
But feeling positive about the good opening half, dumb mistakes that can get coached out during the week, shouldn't be anything that can't be fixed. Defense played great. I agree with you. I think it's a get-right game. I think a lot of players from this team last year disappointed in the loss against this team. So the fact they get to see him again, I would be on Michigan State's side with 3.5, probably up to about 5.5.
Also win the under after talking about the game a little bit more. If State's defense looked as good as, our correspondent says they looked, and Michigan State also only scored 2 points in the second half, which is, a little concerning. Probably lean the under.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of gaudy stats from Boston College, but time to play big boy ball. I'm not really too terrified with what this offense can do. Boston College is. So, yeah, I would agree. Let's ride the under.
Okay. Moving on to another 6:30 p.m. Central game. We have Vanderbilt going on the road to take on Virginia Tech. We got Virginia Tech as a 1.5-point home favorite. Over under currently at 47.5. Xander, I got a feeling that you're going to be on Vanderbilt in this game.
Well, that feeling's right. You really know me, Alex. It's Vandy all the way. They tried to get us again, Virginia Tech. I stayed away from betting that game. And, they just have no sustainable offense. They just can't do anything. Can't move the ball. They allowed some very explosive plays from South Carolina. And guess who showed up and beat the shit out of Charleston Southern and just exploded everywhere? Vanderbilt. Obviously, there's a revenge factor from last year if you're Virginia Tech. So, I like where this spread is at. I like having a pick 'em, not having to worry about any points. I think it's -102 on my book for Vanderbilt, -110 for Virginia Tech. I would also lean the over here. As much as I just shit on Virginia Tech's offense, I think Vandy just has such a quick strike ability. Maybe wears down your defense a little bit too much when you are scoring a little too quickly. And Virginia Tech, they have the capability to score. I think we might be underrating South Carolina as well. One thing we didn't talk about, not to overreact to that game, but I like the over, but I will be on Vanderbilt money line.
Okay. If we were on the Cover 3 podcast, they would play the fight music right now because I prefer the under and I prefer Virginia Tech. And the reason why I like Virginia Tech in this game, a lot of it has to do with the revenge factor from last year when Virginia Tech got embarrassed and surprisingly lost that first game of the year against Vanderbilt, even though the whole stadium in Nashville was packed with Virginia Tech fans. I was there.
Yeah, I know.
I was secretly cheering for Virginia Tech.
Wow.
As someone who held a ticket on them at 13 and a half. Yikes. But I think this is a good spot for Virginia Tech to get the revenge at home, under the lights, enter Sandman, get the revenge, first home game of the year. I mean, if they don't win this one, oh boy, they are going to be loud. And I'm talking about the fans. They are going to be pissed off. So it's hard to say that there's a must-win game in week 2, but this game feels like a must-win game for Virginia Tech in my eyes. The thing is, though, is that I agree with you. Virginia Tech had some mistakes on offense, some pretty bad self-inflicted wounds. I will say I thought the receivers at times made some really nice catches on the outside against South Carolina's corners. But ultimately, it was a very inconsistent performance by Tech. But I will say their defense showed up, and their defense played with physicality. Virginia Tech has a new defensive coordinator this year. And, Xander, I was reading after the game some of the Virginia Tech fan blogs, and they were – I like to do that when a team loses, so I like to see what the fans are saying. And they were ultimately – the overall consensus was that they were pretty happy about the defensive performance, and they really liked what the new coordinator brought to the table. So both of those things combined makes me like the under in this game. And that's just my take on it. So
to bring up old wounds, but I think you had one of the worst bets of the season last year, if I can recall, when you were in attendance. Just because I remember the text. I believe it was Virginia Tech first half -7, 7.5. They were down 17-3 at half.
Yeah, you're right. I had him first half. I had him full game, and then I jumped on him live at one point.
At least it was an overtime for you.
It was the triple whammy, and then I made it all back on Miami, absolutely obliterating Florida in the afternoon game.
There we go. Gosh, sickos for remembering these disgusting bets.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm excited to watch this one again. I hope I have eyeballs on it. That's a fun game. Very curious to see how Vanderbilt performs on the road in a tough environment, and curious to see how Virginia Tech responds after last year's loss and last week's loss to South Carolina. A couple more for you here. UCLA taking on UNLV. This game's at 7 p.m. Central, and it is on CBS Sports Network. And on my book, I have UCLA as a 2.5-point road favorite, and the over-under sitting at 54.5. So what I'll say about UCLA is that I watched most of the first half last week against Utah, and it was never close. It was never close. UCLA just got manhandled by Utah's offensive line. Utah just did whatever they wanted to do against UCLA. It was alarming. It was embarrassing. It was one of those bets that I knew was over 7 minutes into the game when Utah marched down the field, scored a touchdown, and then UCLA failed to convert on a 4th down. You just knew right then and there that this game was over. But UNLV certainly is no Utah. So what do you think here? You've seen more UNLV than I have, so I'm curious what you think.
Sure. I mean, they have the offense to do the same thing, passing wise. Yeah, I think we have to first put our hands up and say collectively as a podcast, we really fucked up not talking about Utah more. We had a few clips about them, but we really liked Evan Dampier last year, and when he was on New Mexico, and to have him in a starting role, and he just came out and flexed everything he had with 4 incompletions, no turnovers, 16 rushes for 87 yards and a touchdown, so 3 total touchdowns. That dude's going to be a problem in the Big 12. So just a side note there. You know what this falls under, though, Alex?
What's that?
Falls under our formula of team got embarrassed on a national scale against a good team. And they come back a small dog or small favorite to a team they probably should be a large favorite against. You got to take the team trying to get off the mat versus the team that has 2 wins already.
Yeah, I agree. Overall, I agree. We're really going to find out if UCLA is like bad this week, right?
Like Michigan in the mid 2000s.
Always got to put them in there somewhere.
When they were ranked like number 5, and I think they went like 3-9 that year.
Dude. I mean, UNLV sucks ass, right?
No, I mean, they're one thing we didn't talk about, didn't have time to, but the Mountain West has been disappointing so far, and UNLV has been the only team, in my opinion, that has kind of risen to the top. It's San Jose State, high expectations. They look horrific. Boise State just got the fucking doors blown off. Yeah, and no really other teams that could impress so far.
Yeah, okay. I mean, UNLV, yeah, they beat Sam Houston, and they beat who did they beat? That's terrible. Early in the year, New Mexico or somebody like that. I forget who, but Xander, a game I wanted to discuss with you, which is at 6:30 p.m. Central Time on ESPN2, is a very intriguing game that's going under the radar, and that's Arizona State taking on Mississippi State. Looks like Arizona State is a 6.5-point favorite on the road. Over-under is 59.5. These two teams played last year before everyone knew Arizona State was good and before everyone knew Mississippi State was really bad. Arizona State got the dub. What do you think of this game? Because I got to be honest, I'm really liking Mississippi State at the moment.
Yeah, Arizona State, handled their business, but wasn't like world beaters. They allowed more through the air than I expected against a Northern Arizona team. So a little concern there in the secondary. I like what Blake Shapen did. Mississippi State covered. They have more than a serviceable quarterback now after he got hurt week 1 of last year. They've got more of Jeff Levy's team of what he wants and what he's trying to build, and not just the remnants of whatever was left after he had to come in. So they look sharp against a Southern Miss team that I personally was high on preseason. I had them in the 8 to 9 win area. So yeah, I would say this is another big time upset alert here late at night, especially, well, we've got to wait a little bit after seeing Toledo last year just beat the fucking brakes off this team in the cowbell environment, under the lights cowbells. I was just about to walk into the trap of saying, well, Arizona State has to play the cowbells, but we've seen that is a task that can be conquered.
What the hell? Mississippi State, you're allowed to do that still, right?
Cowbells?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I thought I had heard something where something got banned, like along those lines, but I just did a quick news search, and it looks like Arizona State has been practicing this week with cowbells.
Just going to say, did you not see the pathetic practice videos they put out?
No, I didn't.
Oh, my God. Just like a couple of the GAs and the PTs walking around the field, just nonstop shaking a couple cowbells in each hand and piping in noise.
This game certainly has all of the ingredients for an upset, I think. But we'll find out. We'll find out on the grass on Saturday night.
I think maybe we don't swing and miss on this one, because my one reason for staying away, on a lot of these games, like Florida State, for example, last week, is like, is there a possibility you could be holding one of the worst tickets of all time? And I feel like that could be the case with Mississippi State, so I'd rather play no side. The only reason I wouldn't bet it is because Sam Levitt and Jordan Tyson, I mean, Levitt didn't skip a beat, neither did Tyson. Did you see that basket catch that he made?
I didn't see the basket catch. I just saw his stat line. Looks like he had a great game.
Yeah. Basket catch was truly insane. A Sunday worthy sketch. Levitt broke a big one. He had 4 TDs responsible for. So they're always a factor here in Dillingham's offense. So it's like, you just have to buyer beware. But because we sat on the sideline, Florida State cashed a plus 13.5 ticket.
No, your point though is extremely valid, and over the long-term sample size, you are right more than you are wrong. That's just the facts. If you're fading Arizona State, you're fading Arizona State because you don't think they're legit and you think they're fraudulent. But if Arizona State was wearing Oklahoma jerseys last year and did what they did, I think it would be easy to be on Oklahoma minus 6.5 against Mississippi State. But because it's Arizona State, I think a lot of people, including possibly myself, are a little skeptical still. So
yeah, yep.
Anything you wanted to mention before we get to this final late night game on Stanford BYU, or nothing at all? If you don't have anything, that's fine.
No, don't have anything. I just wanted to mention we get our midnight Hawaii game.
Yep, midnight Hawaii game, 12 a.m. Eastern on Sunday. So if someone tries to tell you that the first football game on Sunday is some bullshit noon kickoff, tell them no. It's Sam Houston State taking on Hawaii. Got Hawaii as a 7-point favorite at home, and the over-under is 48.5. Do you have a play in this one?
Yeah, and I wrote that down wrong. Hawaii is a dog. Is that right?
Hawaii is a favorite.
Favorite. Okay. Yeah, listen, our boy Aliato, he played. But it was a game to forget against Arizona. 5 turnovers, not just from him, but from the team. 2 fumbles, 3 picks. So, yeah, I think Hawaii back on the Big Island is a more formidable opponent. Sam Houston State, also a team that is sitting with 3 games under the belt, or this will be their 3rd game. So 0-2 coming in. I think this is our chance, Alex. This is the game that we want when it's a midnight game over Hawaii.
You're going over.
We go over on the Big Island.
Over 48.5.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Mahalo.
I mean, Sam Houston hasn't looked good defensively. Got obliterated by Western Kentucky and UNLV. So yeah, I could see that, dude. All right. So that is the card, or the slate rather, for week 2. We went over all of the big games, and now that we've discussed the games, I gotta say I'm a little bit more juiced up about this week. Let's go. We got some good games.
Yeah, there's some sneaky ones. A lot less games with numbers, obviously, on both sides of the score graphic. But I think we both agree that these teams will have numbers next to their names. A lot of them later in the season when it matters.
Mm-hmm.
There's some good games. All right, I've got my what could possibly go wrong this week. Oh, that's my card. Don't look at it. What could possibly go wrong this week? Parlay. And boy, is it juicy, Alex. 63-1 for your ass. It's got a couple dogs in there. These are all money lines. Iowa, NC State, Vanderbilt, UConn, Oregon State, West Virginia pays 63-1. What could possibly go wrong?
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nice. Yeah, very plausible. Your parlay last week got killed by Baylor. Is that correct?
Yes, but then it got killed by Georgia Southern on Saturday. Yeah, it went 2 and 3.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think you got a shot. You got to pay
Appreciate
to
it.
play. Yep.
Do we have our teaser, or do we want to just? Do you want me to put that together for Friday?
Whatever you want. I mean, I would have to go through the games and take a look right now, but whatever you prefer.
Yeah, and I don't know if you noticed, but they're really fucking us on networks here. If you recall, you mentioned a game on CW. I mean, the Vanderbilt game's on ACC Network. So I'm not really sure what the quad box is going to have to take another back seat unless I figure something out by Friday's show. But I don't know what will be the quad box because we haven't had yet for like Fox, ABC, CBS, and NBC.
Yeah.
Or ESPN or Reasonable Games.
Yep.
All right, my card. It's a bit of a doozy here. Starts off with Pitt. They get Central Michigan at home. Des Reed returned a punt in that opening game. Looks really good. He might attract a sprinkle of Heisman for me if I think Pitt is going to actually compete. That's a name you need to know. Desmond Reed. Iowa +3. I like the NC State, Virginia over. Like UConn +6.5. Whatever Ohio State's team total is, give me that over. So if they don't release a line, I'll obviously cross it out. But just waiting on a line that I could get. Like Miami of Ohio this week to get you're giving me 15.5 after they got shut out. There's no way they get shut out again, right?
No way.
Yep. So Miami of Ohio, and yeah. So they got shut out by Wisconsin, and they get Rutgers this week, who just had a tough time against Ohio. Missouri, Kansas over 51. West Virginia -3.5. Get that up to 6. USF +17.5. And then the over in that game as well. Tulane -10. They just look good, man. They get South Alabama. I believe in Tulane. I like our 8-1 ticket to make the playoff. Oklahoma -4.5. And Boston College MSU under. Look at that. It was already on my card when we talked before we talked about it.
Yep.
And then Toledo, Western Kentucky under. Get some of those under freaks. Feed them.
Nice card. Nice card, man.
Thanks, dude.
Yep. So, yeah, look, I mean, I'll give you my full card tomorrow or Friday, whenever they're due.
Okay. But you're already on the record. Do you like the under in Virginia Tech Vanderbilt?
Yeah. Some games I like would be the under in the Virginia Tech Vanderbilt game. I like Illinois -2.5. I like Iowa State -2.5. I like Michigan State -4.5. I like Missouri in the first half -3.5 against Kansas. Matter of fact, let's make that my lock.
Missouri first half?
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. Oh, man.
I'm feeling good about that one. Stand up.
On your feet, please. Columbia, no cans on the field.
What did I miss?
Oh, nothing. Just when, people go crazy, they throw cans on the field.
It's third down.
All right, that's a good lock. Let me ask you this, Alex. Tomorrow, NFL season starts. Do you have a future that you love for the NFL season? Put you on the spot.
Yeah, I do.
Would you like to share it?
Yeah, I'll share the future with you. Let's go Bengals over 9.5 wins.
Okay.
Joe Burrow is too good to not hit that number 2 years in a row.
Very fair. Favorable schedule.
Yeah. Sorry, my wife came in here for a second, but yeah. I like the Bengals over their win total. And another futures play that I like, I'll give you two more that I like. I like the Giants over 5.5 wins.
Wow.
I know it's a little against the grain, probably to common public opinion, but I think their defensive front is just going to be a major, major problem. And I feel like all they can do is go up offensively after last year.
You would think.
So I like the Giants to get at least 6 wins this year. And then Dolphins under 7.5 wins. I think that team is a mess. I think McDaniel gets fired at the end of the year, or maybe even before the end of the year. Dolphins under.
Wow. I love it. God, it feels so good to be back.
Yeah, it's great.
Significant others, beware. The weekends are now under caution tape.
Yeah. Proceed with caution as a man in that situation as well. Got to pick and choose your spots.
Yeah. RIP Stream East for those that still indulge on the Stream East Red Zone. Got shut down the day before the regular season, which seems.
Did you see they tweeted? They said we're not going anywhere.
That was a affiliate account that in their bio says we are not associated with Stream East. So I think it was a think it was a click farming is what the kids call it.
Click farming. Everything is farming these days, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, I think that's about it. But fun podcast. Looking forward to watching some ball this week.
Love it. More to a Saturday only ball, which we like, less chaotic. So we will turn up on next Wednesday or I'll see you guys on Friday for the live show. And we will turn up with a nice card of the positives on our next recap on Wednesday.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. See you.
All right. Bye. Love you.